Hello, everyone. It's me, Simply Smiling. Hope your day is off to a good start. I'm pumped and ready for my day. I wanted to come around the table this morning. Join me. I wanted to chat about finding a new sense of self. Finding a new sense of yourself. Why a new sense? Because we're trying to change some things in our life, meaning we're moving from the old way of things working, the old sense of self, to the new sense of self. Do you ever feel like once you started this journey, once you agreed to do this journey, do you ever feel like you're walking in a fog? Do you ever feel like you're feeling like really numb or you're sleepwalking even? Do you ever feel like that on this journey? I've been on a journey for a while of changing things in my life, be it weight loss, or be it anything, career choices, anything, relationships. Sometimes when you lose the sense of self, you can feel those different ways. Now, we don't want to feel like we're walking around in the fog because we want to be able to wake up. We don't want to be sleepwalking. We want to wake up and realize everything positive that we can create for ourselves. Why on these lifestyle changes? Why we're trying to make things better for ourselves. Now, a new sense of self suggests like a new norm for yourself, meaning the old normal ways did not work for you. The old normal ways you may have gotten just sick and tired of because they were endlessly negative and not the way you wanted to go, not the way you wanted to be for yourself. Okay, we have to be ready to make significant changes in our lives when we're trying to create a new sense of self. We have to be ready in our mind and in our hearts to say, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to make it happen. Okay, now, new normal may suggest that your life has changed in many different and significant ways, but it's still a life to be lived. We're still here, and we have to continuously encourage ourselves to do it, encourage ourselves to even try to find a new sense of self, to create that new person that we want to be. So how does one begin, you may ask, a relationship with the life that we're trying to change? How do you start that, especially given a lot of different circumstances and situations that may be going on in your life? How do you even start to create that? You have to know that the old things in the old sense of self did not work. So a lot of those things, put them on the back burner or just get rid of them and get ready to create. It's hard to create new things with old baggage, so to speak. Old baggage exists in the old way that we did things. It's hard to create that new you. It's hard to create that new relationship with yourself. Okay? We either have to put things on the back burner or slowly eliminate things permanently that did not work for us. Whatever it may be, people, places, or things. So whatever it may be, we have to be ready. We have to give ourselves several options of finding that new sense of self. We have to be ready. We have to be creative in the mind, creative in the heart. And we have to find safe ways to do that. Safe meaning to protect the heart. A lot of times when you're trying to change yourself or trying to create a new sense of self, your heart has to be protected because the heart is going to get battered. I'm telling you now. When things don't work, you're going to be heartbroken. When people say the wrong things, you're going to be heartbroken. When people don't say what you expect for them to say, you're going to be heartbroken. But once you find that new sense of self, you're able to connect with yourself and you're able to connect actually with others better, regardless of what they may say or what they may do. Okay. We also, when finding a new sense of self, we have to learn to manage our fear, to manage anxiety, okay, to manage sleepless nights and things of that nature instead of mindlessly eating, okay, mindlessly drinking, mindlessly binge shopping, whatever your lean on factor is. We have to learn to manage those things when we're trying to create a new sense of self. Okay, we have to foster a lot of different things in our mind because the body is automatically going to foster a lot of different feelings. It's going to do that automatically. Why? Because we're making a change. The body is going to say to the mind, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. I thought I could do this. A lot of doubt would enter in when you're trying to create a new sense of self. Okay, so you don't want to foster those in your mind. You want to always continuously, and we have to do that when trying to change, continuously clean up the mind, continuously clean up the heart. And how do we clean up the mind? We need to create new hobbies when trying to create a new sense of self, create new habits, create new ways of doing things. We have to psychologically attack the journey as if we've already won, as if we already have what it takes. Okay, as if we already can do this. We have to truly believe in self when creating a new sense of self. Now, it can be a lot on the body. It can be a lot on the mind. Of course it can. But if you really want it, understand, if you really want something, okay, it's going to get a little bit tricky. Of course it is, because it's a battle. Internal, outside of your mind, inside of your mind, dealing with your past, trying to get to your future. It's always a battle. But don't you know that victory is built on something? Everything is built on a foundation, understand? So when you start creating these new habits and these new hobbies to create that new sense of self, those are your building blocks. Your habits and your hobbies are your building blocks to get you to where you need to be, to create that new sense of self, okay? You don't want to spend too much free time. If you're not totally built up mentally, you don't want to spend too much free time thinking about the past. You can't move forward and create that new self if you're thinking about the past, even a new sense of self. If you're thinking continuously about the past, you can't do that. So you got to find a way to free your mind of clutter. You got to purge the mind, periodically to create that new sense of self. You got to remember, it starts here. It truly does. And then you've got to find the right mix for yourself. What is the right mix for me in creating a new sense of self? The right mix meaning, what is my solitude? Where is my championship level? Where am I trying to go? What am I trying to do? What am I trying to build? Ask yourself those questions and create that journey for yourself that's going to be a good journey. Meaning that when you hit a pothole, when you fall in the ditch, in the pit, off the wagon, you're able to get up and move forward. That's all building blocks, small steps in creating that new sense of self. Now, like I said, it can be hard, it can be painstaking, and it can be extremely hard, but it's doable. Understand, a lot of things are hard, but they're doable. Everything is not going to be easy. And once you use your small building blocks on which you want to create your sense of self, once you start using what you got to get to where you need to go, it becomes easier. Now, it's not going to be easy right away. We know that. Everybody can testify to that, I'm sure, including myself. But I know the more I put into this journey, the more I allow myself to mess up. You got to have that band there, because messing up is what got me here. I can't only speak for me. It probably got us all here, messing up and making wrong choices for myself, my mind, my spirit, my soul, and my body is what got me here. So remember, all of that needs to be cleaned up. You can't just clean up the mind, don't deal with your spirit, meaning your way of thinking. You can't just clean the body without dealing with the attitude or whatever it is inside of us. We have to deal with everything. Everything needs to be dealt with when trying to create a new sense of self. A lot of times we have to give ourselves a pause. Okay, you may say, okay, that's a lot to clean up simply. That's like cleaning up 15 rooms every single day. We have to create a pause for ourselves. When we feel like we can't do what we need to do in this one area of our lives, pause it. Don't throw in the towel. Just give yourself a pause. Allow yourself some time to meditate, some time to think about, and time to create more belief in what you're trying to do in that area of your life. But don't quit. It's okay to pause, right? Because when you pause, the answer in what you're trying to deal with usually will present itself. The strength that you need to get through whatever you have to pause will usually present itself if you just pause and don't quit. When we quit, we no longer pay attention to that issue in our lives when trying to create that new sense of self. We no longer pay attention to when you quit, you're throwing in the towel. So we don't want to quit. Just push a pause. Allow yourself that we're human. And we need a break. I'm sure we all do a lot with our lives. Someone's dependent on us. We're dependent on ourselves. Blah, blah, blah. We got to do this, got to do that, and the other. So pause and be fair to yourself when trying to create that sense of self. We have to learn to honor ourselves enough Honor yourself enough to get reacquainted to the person that you truly love, which is yourself. A lot of times we say, oh, I just don't. Some people have told me, I have never said it, but they say, I just don't love myself today. I'm done. I'm just a failure. I can't do this. Why is it that everyone else is making this happen? Why can I not stay on track? Why can I not journal? Why can I not exercise, dancercise, move? Why am I not happy? Well, you are. You are all of those things. And you've got to realize that if you once were those, things that made you happy, made you feel good, you still have that. We just have to get reacquainted with ourselves again in order to create that new sense of self. We have to cultivate a relationship, so to speak, with ourselves when trying to create that new sense of self. We have to listen to our mind and follow all the peaceful preferences that we have for ourselves. We have to do all of these things when trying to create a new sense of self. Okay, if you do all of that, you're probably perhaps you will learn that you can do this. You can make this happen, and this is doable. Oh my, even if it does not happen every single day, 7 days a week, if it happens 2 days a week, you'd be happy with that. You're creating a new sense of self. It's a building block. The journey is on a building block foundation, meaning it's continuously moving. You're continuously adding positivity to your journey, positivity to your life in order to create that new sense of self. It's building. It's a solid foundation, but it's forever moving because you're forever stacking positive motivation, determination. Yes, I can. Self-belief. All of these things you're stacking on your foundation as the building blocks on your journey to create a new sense of self. Okay, little by little, remember, and step by step. When you're walking somewhere, taking a journey through the forest on a biking trail or wherever you're walking in green nature, just up and down the street. When you're walking, you take one step at a time. You don't hop and walk with 2 feet. One step at a time. So it's the small steps, one step at a time, that'll get you there when creating that new sense of self. The relationship that we have with ourselves is the persecute for relationships that we have with other people. Meaning that if you treat yourself good, okay, understand, if you take care of you have a great relationship with yourself, you've created that new sense of self, then you're able to go on and create those relationships with the ones that you love in a positive manner, in a positive form or fashion. It's able to happen. So remember, when creating a new sense of self, you want to be fair to yourself. You want to believe you can. A lot of times when we start up in, I believe I can, I believe I can, I believe I can, and all of a sudden, I believe I cannot do this. This is a bit much. This is too hard. I can't do it, and it's done, and it's silly. It doesn't make any sense. Don't allow all of that doubt to come in. Stay on, I believe I can, I believe I can. I got this. I'm willing to make it happen. I'm willing to create a new sense of myself. So when I walk out that door every single day, when I sit down in that Zoom meeting every single day, when I call my besties every single day, when I connect with family and friends and siblings every single day, I know in my mind that I'm creating a new sense of self, and nothing negative out of any of those areas in my life is going to stop me. You have to know you're unstoppable. You got to put on your cape and be a superpower person. Yes, you have. You've got to know without a shadow of a doubt, when creating this new sense of self, you can do it. I've heard people tell me because of the pandemic, I put on pandemic pounds. Okay, why we want to give our pounds a name, I don't know. What we put on is maybe pounds. Okay, there's no such thing as pandemic pounds. You have to stop labeling everything negative that's going on in your life as a joke. Everything negative that's going on in your life as not a possibility. You got to stop all the self-negative labeling of everything negative in your life when trying to create a new sense of self. Okay, and then if we do have the so-called pandemic pounds, let's just get them off and continuously building those positive blocks to get us to where we're going. Have a wonderful day. Get out there and create that new sense of self. And remember, it's small steps, one step at a time. It ain't no bunny hop. It ain't no marathon. It's one step at a time. We've got this. Yes, we have. Peace and love. See you real soon on the dance floor. Bye.